Me. Okay. Doing some vocal warm-ups this morning. Dracula, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing good, man. It's a slow Monday here. It's a little rainy. Pulled myself together because the show is too important. So I'm here. Got my coffee brewing. I haven't had it yet though. But
Dracula and I are having two very different mornings. Because I hopped up out of bed this morning, 1,000 miles per hour. I was so excited to say good morning, Sonic. Right? I'm inspired by this beautiful creation, but of Andre Cronje and Michael Kong Sonic, and I'm living my life by. I'm trying to move 1,000 miles per hour all the time. And
the live Sonic lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm living a Sonic lifestyle. But no, today we've got a great show for you. If you missed our live stream on Thursday where we launched a meme coin, don't fret. It's still up, and we're going to even talk about it a little bit because we're going to be talking about what we learned from launching a meme token. It was my first time. Dracula, I'm sure much more experience. I don't know how many meme coins Dracula's launched. We're going to go through kind of the lessons we've learned. We're also going to talk about the Thunderdome beta. Ever heard of it, you beta? You need to. You need to get into Thunderdome and prove that you're a Sigma. And finally, we're going to talk about Solana DeFi opportunities because there's some cropping up on Fantom. I'm a little curious about this myself. I hear Solana sucks, dude. I hear you can't make any money over there unless you're trading doo-doo butt token.
True? Yeah, I'll throw this little thing up here real fast. But basically, the idea is that with the USDCE bridge, there had been murmurs that I guess you were going to be able to bridge certain other Solana tokens to Fantom.
Go on.
So this is a tweet from Spooky saying, hey, opportunities for Solana are coming to Fantom. Here's the contract for Wrap Sol. And then they got a little picture of, the portal bridge interface showing that, you're going to be able to bridge Solana to Fantom. Or you already can, I guess. It's just that, liquidity is still getting built up.
Do kids these days still talk about vamp attacks? Is that something kids even talk about? Do kids even care about those nowadays in crypto?
You don't hear about it as much, but I was actually talking to somebody about this a few weeks ago because I had a tweet mentioning that, I had to jump through all these hoops, but I had found some decent APR to farm Solana with, bridged the BSC, and it was a concentrated liquidity position on PancakeSwap, but then you were able to also farm the LP to earn cake. So the point, though, was that Solana is so, in terms of users and volume and everything, the DeFi opportunities, I mean, you're better off, farming airdrops of protocols over there than you really are farming Solana.
It's barren over there. It's a wasteland.
Yeah, because it's just that the opportunities you do have are so overcrowded that maybe someone can, point me in the right direction if I'm wrong. But I've used Solana a good bit. I've used it for, 2-3 years, whatever. You rarely see anything that's over single digit yield. So I was just having a similar conversation 2 or 3 weeks ago where I was like, if they're saying that Solana, you're going to be able to bridge it to Fantom easily with Wormhole, some of the DEXs could really benefit from offering some sweet APR on Solana because people are so hungry for good farming opportunities because they're so little on the actual Solana network. If you had a farm with 100% APR for Solana, I think people would go nuts for that. I mean, but you wouldn't even have to do that. If you had 50, 60% yield, whatever, 40, 50%, I bet people would still take the time to bridge over. So, we have this meme contest that they've announced. We have some, they're trying to kind of capture some of that Solana mind share. But on the DeFi side, I think this could actually be a big thing. If you had Spooky, Equalizer, WeGo, Spirit, whoever, if you had some of these protocols offering decent yield on actual Wrap Solana, I think it could be very interesting.
Yeah, and it seems like the geniuses over at SpookySwap are ahead of the game because they've seen this market opportunity and have jumped on it like a cat of some sort, right? Some kind of predatory beast, because this is a huge gap in the market, I think, especially if the bridge is smooth and seamless. I've never used Portal Bridge, Dracula. Is it quick? Is it safe?
Yeah, so Portal Bridge,
right here.
That's the actual Wormhole bridge where you can take, Solana to different chains. And, basically, the wormhole stuff is not even just like only on Solana. You can go to Portal Bridge and go between the EVM chains and stuff too. But it's in terms of getting Solana, out of there to EVM chains. That's one of the only options.
This seems to be a good kind of, I hesitate to even call it marketing. I guess you could, but it seems like a good way to get more. I said vamp attack, but kinda right in terms of pulling liquidity from Solana onto Phantom with these yield opportunities. Here's what I would imagine: you're a meme coin trader on Solana, right? Dracula, I don't know if you've done this. I've done this a bit. You pull your profits back into Sol once you've caught some pumps, right, on PopCat or whatever. So you pull some of the liquidity back into Sol, and then it's just sitting there. Now,
Yeah,
if you're a level 10 trader, not a level 0 dork, what you would do then is to say, I've got this capital just sitting here. It should be making money. Nowhere to put it on Solana. Let's bridge it over to Phantom. Now, here's the next part of the story. This is what we covered so far. Next part of the story, you're on Phantom. You're watching your solo crew. You're on SpookySwap. You're clicking around. You noticed a couple other sexy little APRs, don't you, Dracula? Something like
that's right.
Equal. Something like Beethoven. Maybe you want to get your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah, the next thing you know, you're farming over there. Then you're hunting for other good APRs, good farming opportunities. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a little Trojan horse there. Everybody's just thinking about the memes, and I think that was also the goal with the wormhole deal. I mean, I think it's going to be more than USDCE and Solana. I think eventually, because you can, if you're on Solana and you have a token, you can basically make it compatible with wormhole. So I think that if people started doing this more, you would probably also start seeing some of these really, big market cap memes also moving. I would like to see it because I suffer from the exact problem that you just mentioned. That's how I ended up in that scenario that I was talking about, where I was like, I had to take Wrap Soul over, and then I still had to take it from that and make it like the BSC Soul, and then, do all this, jump through all these hoops. But yeah, it's because, you make some trades and the Solana's just sitting there in your wallet. And I hope that people take advantage of that. I think that could actually, especially just some of the big, like you mentioned, if you have like Spooky or Equalizer or Beethoven, dexes that already have like large followings. And, if somebody pulls up Dex Screener or whatever and says, I'm going to check out Spooky, they're going to go, oh yeah, like look at Boo, look at these tokens, they have decent liquidity, decent market caps. Like, so I hope people run with it. I'm not sure if Spooky's teasing like an actual farm here or if they're just also noticing the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty nice little opportunity. If you can get the information out there to seduce them over, right? It'd be quite good. What I'd really like to see is like if you land on Spooky, kind of the integration with other like Phantom apps so that it can really ensnare people as they come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't know if that's a actual teaser for something they got cooking, but if they are, bravo, because I think that could be something very sneaky that people do not actually expect to that could bring like a lot of traffic, a lot of volume.
Boo is cooking. Boo is in the kitchen cooking right now in that little cauldron of hers.
Beyond that, I mean, we were gonna chat about just our takeaways from our live stream. Yeah, like that was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody that watched. Like I said on the stream, I mean, I think we'll try to find some fun stuff to do live in the future.
So this is our epic meme that we made in conjunction with the audience. It was Crocs. The idea is it's very easy to meme Crocs because they're a funny looking shoe. You could put them on different characters like we did with this little gator guy, this little croc, if you will. The problem was, we wanted to really show how these meme launch pads work. And I mean, I guess we did. We did show how they worked. It just was at lightning speed. Because the second we launched this token, it hit the market cap and it needed to get pushed live to the DEX. So we had no time whatsoever.
Yeah, so that was funny. Yeah, so like, just in case you are not initiated,
Mhm.
um basically on Degen Express, same as like I guess a lot of like Pump Fun or whatever. You start on the initial Launchpad area, and they got the bonding curve, and you're trying to hit a market cap target, and when you hit that target, then you go to the launched crew here, and so the idea is you're trading on this bonding curve on the Launchpad. When you do hit that like target market cap, which for Degen Express right now is 55,000, it shoots you into like the real DEX. So they have like their own DEX that you can also trade on after that. So like for instance, here are all the tokens that have ended up being able to hit the cap to go.
Dude,
So
and we're with some absolutely legendary Hall of Famers here. We're with Fiery Dev, we're with Yerald, we're with the Phantom Kings, Phantom Shrimp, Andre Cronje, and Sonic. The thing I want to
yes.
point out here is 3 of these are tied directly to a personality. And
Yeah.
then one is tied to a cluster of personalities. I dig it though. Crocs.
Yeah.
I'm proud of
So
us for making it here.
yeah, so what happened was we launch on the Launchpad, and it literally moved so fast on the bonding curve. I was still trying to like show, we had the chart pulled up. We were still just trying to watch the chart, and like I figured, oh, like that'll just bounce around and we'll have some fun for a few minutes and then we'll move on. Well, I guess it like within 60 seconds or something, it shot to the DEX. So people, pumped it quick. It moved to the DEX, and then we ended up over here on the DEX. So as you can see here, it made it to the DEX. I guess there was some initial pumping, and they took profits bigly.
Yeah, I mean, I was like clicking around on here, looking at kind of like who's responsible for these big candles. I mean, part of the issue, if you're not super well versed on trading, how DEXs work, uh, or the concepts of liquidity, we have this super thin liquidity because we launched like very small, right? And just immediately dumped. So you get these big candles like immediately. Um, but
Yeah, and I mean, I had some takeaways from it. I mean,
Mhm.
I think this was sort of like in a way an interesting experiment, because most of the time when somebody launches on like Degen Express, they just launch the token and then people kind of discover it and they start telling their friends. Well, what do you do? Like, 'cause you see this more on like Pump.Fun. So what do you do when somebody is saying, hey, I'm launching a token on Degen Express. It's launching today at, 3 o'clock. Be there. So everybody knows it's about to launch, right?
Mhm.
So there's been like an issue with there's not really like a perfect answer right now with like I guess what they call snipers. So you have people that just kind of watch the platforms. As soon as they see something new, they go ahead and get a bag, because that bonding curve, you're gonna get a bunch for your money. Um, so what Degen Express kind of implemented was like a whitelist, and they had a contest, and I think it was like 100, 200 wallets have access to this whitelist. So what it does is to prevent snipers, only these people on the whitelist can buy for like the first, like I think it's like 5 minutes now. It used to be longer. So I guess it's like, how do you? I think what we're seeing is that people are on this whitelist are maybe abusing their privilege a little bit, because we had people that obviously bought right when it launched. They're on the whitelist, so no one else can buy. And then it's like, boom, the floodgates open. People start buying, so then they're able to just like dump,
Dump into
for like
it.
insta profit.
Yeah.
So
I got a
my thought,
question about this.
sure,
Uh, in what way would the whitelist, not no offense to the Degen Express, but in what way would the whitelist mitigate sniping instead of just picking sniping winners, right?
yeah, I,
Because like if I'm a sniper, right? If I have like the tools, like I make money doing this, I'm used to it. I've done it a lot, and I hear there's a whitelist coming up. Wouldn't I just be like, well, I just need to get on that. I
yeah,
need
I
to
mean,
prioritize that.
I think the reasoning was kind of like, hey, if they're entering this contest, they're like real humans, real Twitter accounts, whatever. Since most of the time, with sniping and all that, you usually think of like bots. People have these bots that can auto detect when new liquidity is made. So I think the idea was more like, hey, if we maybe just kind of like takes the bots out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's no perfect answer. Everybody has to deal with this problem. I kind of feel like, I think seeing now that like obviously there's probably like a handful of people maybe abusing this system, maybe something like supply limits per wallet for the first however many minutes, instead of a whitelist, it's that, you can only buy so much of the supply, like, 0.5%, 1%, whatever, for the first 5 minutes. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe transaction limits as well, where like you can only buy like, 0.25% of the supply or something for the first few minutes. Cause that's really all it is
Mm-hmm.
if you can make it out of those first, 2-3 minutes, then usually it's fine. By then it's stuff's already been moving whichever way it's going to move, and it's a little more fair. But yeah, I mean, I say this, but I also just preface that with, there's no perfect way to handle this. Um, but that was like, I did notice that, people were able to start buying and everybody's like sitting there trying to buy, they can't buy. Maybe they like revisit this here pretty soon, because it does. I think at first people were kind of playing fair, but it kind of feels like now that system's also being like sort of like manipulated.
Yeah. The information on the whitelist is a little thin, from what I can tell, like in documentation. But basically, they picked based off of top traders, token creators, LPers, and they did like this experience point system. So um, I can see like what you mean. Like they're just trying to make sure that you're not a bot, that you're not like, I guess, exclusively sniping, but it's curious. It's curious. I think it is an interesting mechanism to try and prevent it. But yeah, I think you mentioned supply limiting early on. It was is like what you usually do, like
Yeah,
preventing
that's
that early
usually
25% purchase.
yeah. You just say, hey, like, you can't buy more than like a really small amount, like a 0.25%. And then
Hmm.
yeah, like, and then even on top of that, nobody can own more than like 1% of the supply. And then you just take that off, turn it off, or whatever.
Hmm.
So maybe something to look into. But I'm sure the team is obviously very capable, so I'm sure they're thinking about all this stuff. I think, like I said, I think there was like a prosperous time where this system was working around launch,
Hmm.
but you're I'm seeing and hearing more and more about that. So yeah, I think we got some bad actors in that whitelist system right now.
Yeah. So I have some insights too. They're a little bit less technical for the meme token launch. And maybe for a lot of people this is a no-brainer stuff, but I thought it was interesting. I was kind of hoping to do completely kind of grassroots uh community, just take over this idea or whatever, right? When we launched this, I put like 500 Phantom in or something like start. Uh so the goal was generally, and I think a lot of these launch pads is to kind of socialize everything to kind of prevent the consolidation of control into one thing. But I think it's inevitable from this experience that if you really want a successful meme token, you got to set yourself up for success as well. So that means pre-made socials, because I honestly thought we would have a little bit more time bouncing around on DGen Express, but because we rocketed off, we didn't have any time.
Yeah.
Um, Pre-made spammable memes, content to make spreading the word easier. You want to have like a pack of assets that when people come into your socials, they can immediately just start building, right? Give them the Lego so they can start playing. And most importantly of all, a group of motivated insiders to generate the energy and activity is really what you need. You need early believers. And this to me is an interesting conflict, because part of the difficulty with a lot of meme coins is you get these early insiders that dump, right? I think this is just common across all of DeFi, right? All of
Yeah.
crypto really is like you do need like motivated early adopters to really evangelize, to build the culture and to spread the idea. um but you have to give them the power to dump, essentially, because the only reason they're going to care enough is if they have the financial incentive to do so, right?
I think that's something that all of these launch pads are gonna have to maybe like analyze is just kind of like how do you attract the people that are doing that? You know what I mean? How do you bring in like the people that are like, hey, we're more organized. We have people that are already interested in it. The memes are ready to go. The socials are ready to go. We want to launch it this day at this time. Because what's the benefit of going to one of these platforms then compared to just, getting a dev or, if you can make a token with like a token maker or whatever. So yeah, still a bit of progress to be made. But like I said, it's not just centric to any platform. It's even Pump Fun. It's all of them.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. So everyone's got to still kind of get their legs on it.
Yeah, I mean, that to me seems like something that the platform can't really even help, right? Like I can't help with like the kind of clientele essentially I'm drawing.
Yeah.
But it is something to keep in mind, I guess, when you're kind of shopping around for meme coins. To me, it seems like the biggest value is like a well organized, well motivated like socials. If you see the socials really popping off, and they're putting a lot of energy into it. Uh, Part of that though gives me this idea that it might be a functional strategy just to launch a bunch of just garbage on these and just collect
Well,
the fees.
that's kind of you're seeing that more so on like, Pump Fun since it's been around a little longer that, you know, you have these like series of people that are just launching stuff every single day. Like I saw a thread over the weekend where the guy was like, every time I get rugged on Pump Fun, I find the creator wallet. And then like I always check to see if it's like this list of wallets that made a token or whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's a strategy in itself where you have these people that just spam it all day. And, I guess they figure, hey, if I can make 10 tokens in a day and make a couple $100, I guess it's worth the work. I don't know.
Yeah. If I can make 10 Phantom by just launching another joke token, why not, dude?
Yeah.
10
So,
Phantom, that's like $100 in like 5 years or something.
but yeah, we had a lot of fun. I actually I like the ideas behind meme box as well. Um, we would go through all this process there too, but it's kind of like basically the same thing happened.
Yeah.
It like instantly got sniped. So their system was cool though. I mean, where you we had burnt the LP. The token was called Dumb Money, which I guess is fitting when you see like the GameStop guys back on Twitter as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Their system was like a little more unique, but same deal. There's just like things that got to get worked out. I think to make it like a viable project. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
kind of like you just mentioned a minute ago, it's sort of like there is kind of like a certain clientele. I mean, we've talked about it before that they're not really made to be like big long-term projects. It's more of like a burning star of like the meme cycle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think it's actually more rare that people kind of like make it out of that initial chaos than, it's like less make it out than do, as far as like you could see what's launched on Degen Express versus what's still
Yeah.
like in the bonding curve.
These little meme tokens, they're kind of like, when those like sea turtles hatch and they have to like walk into the ocean, but they're
Yeah.
getting like murdered by like seagulls and like
Crabs.
crabs, like every possible living thing. Yeah, it's kind of what it's like to launch a meme token, is what it seems. Um, yeah, so yeah, for meme box, I think it was, to me the experience seems like a little bit cleaner, a little bit faster, but it's not as like memey. So that was kind of like the primary difference between the two, because like you're saying, we kind of had the similar issue on both. To be fair, on Memebucks, I think we used too little liquidity initially. Is
I
what
had
made
already
it.
kind of like mashed the button and they were like, no. So
Yeah. So, but that's fine. We learned a valuable lesson. I say it's fine because it wasn't my Phantom; it was Dracula's. uh, yeah, no. So those were the two that we covered. And again, super pumped fun. We didn't do because whether they were down or something, or like
well,
they
they have
asked us
some
to pass.
I guess they have a pretty big update coming. So
Yeah.
we're still gonna do something over there when they're ready.
Mhm.
But at the time they just said, hey, of course you can do it if you want, but if you want to wait a little bit, we're about to have this really big UI update and everything. So we figured why not? That'll give us something to do. We can
Yeah.
stream that as well. So
We'll launch Crash Bandicoot on that.
y-
The Crash Bandicoot token.
Crash Bandicoot token. That sounds good to me. I guess moving on, there was one of the like the Fantom. Remember we were covering, I guess there was those 5 projects that earned like a special Phantom grant and, some assistance from Andre. So Thunderdome was one of those projects, and much anticipated because they're like SocialFi. So, kind of like Friend Tech, that kind of thing.
Stars Arena.
Yeah, Stars Arena, Friend Tech, So, yeah, so they launched their beta, or I guess they're calling it a soft launch. I don't know if it's necessarily just a beta, but people are already going over there, checking it out. People are buying tickets. I did pull up their site. I don't have an account yet. I don't know. Do you have an account, Corval?
I do not have an account on Thunderdome. SocialFi, I played a little bit with Friendtech when it first launched, and it gave me a stomach ache. So I haven't touched SocialFi in a while.
Yeah, so it's kind of unique in terms of, yes, like, I don't have an account here, so you can't see my tickets and everything. Let me know if you want me to make an account. But basically, I think something that's interesting is, so you got your people with your, ticket values like you do on Friendtech. So I'm assuming, you got to get a ticket to see the good stuff.
Blake
Shout
Hooper
out to Blake Hooper.
You think he balls? You think he plays basketball?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that dude can hoop for real.
With a name like that, he's got to play. Dude, I'm recognizing these names at the top. Blake Hooper, Blockchain Ecologyst, Fiery Dev. They're running this show right now. Even Nick.ftm Rose emojis up on
down there. 8-Bit Sam.
I just followed Gabby.
Oh yeah, shout out to Gabby as well. That's a long. That dude's been around for a long time. So yeah, I think. So I think what's interesting though is, yes, you have your tickets like you do, so you have to buy a ticket to get access to the room or whatever. But this is cool. So they're topics, and I guess, they got the hash symbols here, hashtag or whatever, but essentially each topic is a room as well. And I don't know if I'll actually click on any because who knows what's in here, but okay, we'll just, so basically what it does is you can see on some of these, like you can actually like see like what's happening in the room, but to actually like participate in the room, you still have to buy a ticket. So like, here's like all the topics, like good old Funeral here, who was just on the show. He made one. So you can see what's going on in the rooms, but to participate in the room, you have to buy a ticket. And the person that created the topic or room or whatever, they, I guess, get some kind of profit from that, or I guess they get like the same kind of thing as like if you just had like your own personal room or whatever. So I think that's kind of a cool twist, if you get a little group that's popular in there. So it's kind of like another way to incentivize, doing stuff on the site. Like, like let's say you had something like, Phantom Kings over there, and it became like a very, like a very to-do place to be. You know what I mean? Like you got to be in that room. You got to be in there. You're not cool if you're not in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like an exclusive forum. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting take on the whole deal.
I like the discoverability a lot more than I did on Friendtech, and that I could kind of see like what I might even be interested in, because Friendtech was like a real roulette in that, like, I didn't know, like, if I buy access to someone's like chat or whatever, I have no idea whether or not it's even worth it just based off the market price.
Yeah. But, so it's kind of cool that like you can at least for the topics, you can kind of see what's going on in there. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm assuming they said soft launch. I thought I saw somewhere beta. I think, their goal is to be on Sonic, but, good on them to go ahead and release a version of it, give everybody something to do. Seems like a lot of people are talking about it, having fun with it. So I'll probably check it out this week. Maybe we'll make a GMSONIC account on there or something.
Yeah. What would we post in here? It's just a chat room, right? So it's not like I can post like
Well, I guess we
super
don't
high
have,
content.
we don't have
But
like a Discord or anything. So I guess it could be
yeah,
like our Telegram or Discord or whatever.
I like that. And it'll be like our little meme hub. And in there we'll post all of our trades so that we can make $1 million, dude.
That sounds like a good plan.
Look,
So
I'm trying to make sure our ticket price is pretty good, you know?
yeah, we got to get that ticket price pumped up. So
And make it worth our while, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious as to what the audience thinks about SocialFi. I'm not super hot on SocialFi, but the foundation is, so maybe they know something I don't. How do you feel about SocialFi overall, Dracula?
I think that, um, I think I see the vision on it in terms of what would be like an easy way. Well, I say easy. I mean, it's crypto, so already you have kind of like a bar set that's a little higher than just going to a website or whatever. But I could see that, like, as people refine these apps, it could be like a really good onboarding tool for either your chain or crypto in general. There was kind of like an interesting example, right when Friend Tech launched, of course, you immediately had a lot of derivatives. And I want to say this one was called Post Tech. I think it was on Mantle. And
Sounds
like I said,
familiar.
yeah, I could have this mixed up, but they had a team that it seemed like they were kind of more rooted in like some social web 2 kind of stuff already. So it was interesting because when you went over there was actually like a lot of people on there that were just like signing up like it was just like a regular social media kind of service.
Hmm.
Um, and I think ultimately that's got to be what the big picture is, right? Is that if you can really make the barrier for entry easy for people to use these apps, then maybe they're saying, hey, like, I don't know, like, I kind of enjoy this. This is kind of fun, earning the
Yeah.
points and the money and um, so who knows? Maybe it brings them to your chain. Maybe it brings them into DeFi and then also it's just like it's a new sector. Crypto, it's like how many sectors do we really have? So
Yeah.
it's almost interesting that it took this long to happen if you think about it.
Well, from my understanding, there's been like kind of like SocialFi apps using blockchain tech for a while. Like I think like Lens and like
Hmm.
Farcaster, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just less monetized, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, from my perspective, I thought from my understanding, it's always been very difficult to launch a social network because you do have like this kind of like, what would you call it? You need like an activation energy. You need to reach like a certain threshold for it to be worth anything at all. Meaning, like, you need to have a certain number of people active on it before anyone uses it. Like, you think about like when you first, we're old heads, you know. Think about when you first downloaded Facebook. The first time I downloaded Facebook, it wasn't because I was like, oh wow, this is an interesting application. It was more of like, oh, these like 5 girls I know are on Facebook and I want to talk to them, so I'll download it, you know,
Yeah,
or I'll not even download it. I'll make an account.
yeah.
Same with MySpace. Same with Instagram.
Hmm.
It seems to me what you got to do is you got to get the girls on there, dude, or you got to get Gordon Ramsay in there putting recipes behind his paywall. You know
There
what I
you
mean?
go. That's an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. And you look at all the interfaces and stuff. I think all of them got a little ways to go, but that Thunderdome interface, I thought actually is kind of nice. It's like very clean, very simple. It's like you got your topics, you got your rooms. Because I know, like on Friend Tech, I was on Friend Tech, I guess I messed around with it for probably a solid 2 or 3 months. So I was kind of
mm,
involved there at the beginning, and they kept trying these like updates, and it was almost always like an issue of because they launched so bare bones. It was like they kept trying to like just overload it with information because that was everybody's like complaint. And so yeah, you got to find that balance of like it's got to be clean, it's got to be like easy to look at, easy to move around.
mhm.
But yeah, it's like you do have to like in a way it's not that you're trying to be like a web 2 like media website, but I think you kind of have to make some of those concessions, right? You got to like make it a little smoother to bring in people that aren't going to look at it and be like, I don't know what the hell this is. Like, what do I do?
Yeah,
You know?
I do. I do agree. I think that the Thunderdome UI is probably the best one I've seen so far. And like I said, specifically for discovery, because it seemed to me like a big part of social networking is discovery, right? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
weird. The initial friend tech approach was kind of weird because it was like I have to know whether or not I want to hear what this person has to say,
Yeah.
as opposed to just seeing like like how do I advertise my friend tech? I have to go to a different social media platform, and then I would go to friend tech to see
Yeah.
if they have an account, and then I would buy. It was kind of a little bit more convoluted. So this one makes a lot more sense, but you'd still kind of be relying on people just browsing your app.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where they go with it because they do seem to have some pretty nice like UI sensibilities. So we could even see further improvements. Um, yeah, I'm definitely really curious. Another question about social networks is like kind of like what's the point of it? Like what's the purpose of your social network? Facebook has a pretty clear purpose. It's like very much more like family, community oriented.
Yeah.
Twitter is obviously supposed to be like I don't know, like the debate chamber, like news, like be angry at people. It's like PvP. So I'm curious to see how we can add more kind of value to these SocialFi apps other than just monetary, like let's just trade. Because I think
Yeah.
that might be just appealing to crypto people, which might be
Yeah.
fine. It might be fine at the end of the day if we might have enough serviceable market with just crypto people. Let's migrate crypto Twitter off of Twitter onto I don't know, Thunderdome now.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's like it's still just kind of new and people are still figuring out what the sweet spot is, but yeah, I think that was smart just in terms of like you're able to still kind of lurk a little bit, see if you're even if you'd be even interested in joining a group or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, obviously you can still just kind of search people out. But yeah, I do feel like that on Friend Tech was like I was kind of like posting charts and stuff that like I wouldn't post on Twitter. It's like you almost have to like find an angle, like you were saying, and it's like I don't know what the answer is to that in terms of like how do you make it to where people would also just want to hang out there regardless of if there's like a monetary incentive or angle or whatever. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of also kind of messed up because like I think Twitter kind of stole a lot of like the momentum of these SocialFi apps as they were starting to launch. Because if I'm remembering my timeline correctly, it wasn't too long after FriendTech launched, or maybe it was right before, where Twitter switched to like that or X, I guess, switched to that payment model
yeah, like
for
Twitter Blue and
impressions.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a big example for me was I remember Miles Dusher. He's a huge crypto influencer guy, right? He had a friend tech, but he also just had his X as like paywall posts. So like you
Mhm.
would subscribe to him. So it's like why would I buy his friend tech when I could just if I care about the content he's making, I would just if I'm already on his X, I'll just buy it there. The only reason I would go to friend tech was to speculate it up higher because I could trade
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So
Which girls
yeah.
will love, so I don't know. Maybe I'm being too much of a negative Nancy, dude. Dracula, tell me if I'm being a negative Ned here.
No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're valid points there.
I hope that I just don't want the fan crowd to tear me apart. Look, dude, we're all gonna make it, okay? We're all gonna make it. Wag me, you know, and we don't even have to try that hard. We don't have to try that hard. We don't have to even make a product anyone wants to use. We're gonna make it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it for today.
So yeah, I mean, I want to thank everybody for watching my sleepy ramblings here on this Monday. I thought it was quite fun. Well, I guess it's gonna be Tuesday when this launches, but we're recording this on Monday. But yeah, Uh, shout out to everybody watching, everyone that joined us on the meme coin stream. We're really thankful for your support. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, GM_Sonic on YouTube. Also on Phantom Talk, X Phantom Talk. Be sure to follow and hit the little notification bell so you know when we're live because we do go live on X as well. Probably our primary platform. And we're also on every possible podcast application. So if you want Apple Music, Spotify, the other ones, I'm sure we're there. GM Sonic.